back at it again. Second video in a row. Now I want to talk about the Snyder Cut. Holy shit! I for the longest time I've watched channels. One of my favorite channels, Renegade Cut. Shout out to Renegade Cut. I love your analysis videos and your political videos. And Folding Ideas as of late. Folding Ideas as of late had the latest Snyder Cut It Exists, Does Not Exist video. Love that video. I've watched it at least like 5 times. And they've both made a great point. Folding Ideas being a little more optimistic and whatnot, but they both had a great point in saying Snyder didn't get his fully realized version done. So there's really not the Snyder Cut. Excuse me. It's not the $200 million goddamn epic version that he was going for. Rather, there's some concept art and some unfinished special effects, to say the least. But there's nothing of that can save the fucking that atrocious monster Frankenstein they call Justice League. So there's no real, there wasn't that, as far as I'm concerned. However, what he did shoot and what he can put together was rather interesting. This whole situation is interesting. Batman vs Superman wasn't complete trash. Fuck it. It was trash, but it wasn't. I don't know what to say, man. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I mean, out of all the times these two could have met, out of all the movies these two could have met, they picked that goddamn movie. A weak deconstruction of their mythology, their iconography. It's just kind of this. But surprisingly, after that came out and the negative reviews, well, not surprisingly, Justice League slipped from under Zack Snyder, and of course the unfortunate passing of his daughter, and him walking away from the project, him in the studio agreeing he should walk away from the project. And Joss Whedon, hell of a director, loved the Avengers, loved his line of work. I think Firefly is what it's called, sci-fi flick, sci-fi show. And then Serenity, I believe. Yeah, Serenity with Chiwetel as the villain. Underrated sci-fi, but that's here nor there. Josh is one of the solid writers and directors in the industry, especially for the genre. Fucking atrocious Justice League. He should never have stepped in at all. No one should have stepped in at all. Justice League turned to shit, and that's that, to be honest. And surprisingly, during promotion, even after a few years now, surprisingly, the same people that were probably trashing Batman vs Superman have been pushing for Zack Snyder's version of it. And it's almost like people forgot just how much they criticized Batman vs Superman. I would like to see his Justice League, even though it's probably not going to be any better than DVS. But I know that it'd be better than fucking Justice League, to say the least. It's an interesting thing. We've had director's cuts before. We've had directors, try to push their films. I think the closest thing to this, but not so much in the same level, studio versus director, would be Brazil or Blade Runner, in a sense, But they both got to release they both ended up, Ridley Scott and Terry Gilliam both ended up respectively shooting their version of the film that then studio came in and took away from them and forced them to shoot endings. But they had their full movies. Zack never had his chance to shoot the whole freaking movie and then add some scenes later on. So it's very interesting in this regards how is he gonna create something like, they're giving him $20 to $30 million to work with, and I believe that some of the actors and the cast is coming back to re-record some lines, which, granted, that's what they do, that's what they get paid the big bucks for, to go to the studio and dub some lines. But I'm just curious how that's gonna look. Like, it's not a cheap movie. This is not an indie film. It's not a goddamn a mid-level film. It's a blockbuster galore. You know what I mean? Superman takes flight. Like, we need to see all these things, and even his Batman, for instance, you know, even some of his movements was rather CG as well. Like, Zack is brilliant when it comes to hand-to-hand action, at least. Um, so his movies are expensive. I'm curious too. I'm just curious. Also, one of the newer things about the dynamic is HBO Max coming into play. Um, Streaming wasn't there before for Ridley Scott to just say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna put my original Blade Runner on Hulu or something." No, it wasn't there, and you know, for Terry Gilliam, it wasn't there for him either. So I'm very interested in what I think it's going to be released kind of like episodically. I'm curious to see what that looks like, what his $20-30 million version of this movie and what he could take from previous footage, what that looks like, what that entails. Like, is he, you know, Martian Manhunter was supposed to be in it, Darkseid was supposed to be in it. You know, it was Green Lantern was featured in it. Apparently, there's a huge epic version of this movie that he wanted to make, and he didn't get a chance to make that. That was taken from him, from studio and negative reviews. I'm just curious how it's going to turn out. I'm curious how it's going to play. You know, in a way, he did win so far, and in another way, it's an odd scenario for Warner Brothers to even entertain playing this, which I don't know, because these are the same people, these are the same executives that pulled, you know, kind of pulled them out of it. You know what I mean? Like they're not too keen on seeing his version of the damn movie. So yeah, I don't know. I just really rambled this video. I hope I made some sense. I'm just really curious. I'm curious how it's going to turn out. I'm curious what it looks like. I'm curious what his vision's going to entail. I'm curious what, you know, how the actors are going to sound re-recording those lines. Ben Affleck damn near died. Damn near died from trying to play Batman. I mean, yeah, I don't think that man's coming back at all. Yeah, this was a huge ramble. I thought I'd be more organized with my thoughts, but this subject matter is just so crazy, and you know, I think the closest thing to it, like I've said, is the controversy for Brazil and the controversy in the runaround for Blade Runner. Those movies have seen totally different versions of, you know, I mean, it's 7 Blade Runner movies, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking 7 spin-offs. I mean, literally, there's 7 different versions of fucking Blade Runner. You know, in Brazil, there's at least 2 to 3 of them. I believe it's like at least 2. So it's, you know, yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how it's gonna turn out. I'm curious what happens. Yeah. I hope it works out. I'm there. I'm gonna see it. Shit. I'm gonna get HBO Max, whatever, and I'm gonna watch it for sure. You damn right I'm gonna watch it. And I'm gonna review it just for y'all. I love y'all. See y'all later. I want y'all thoughts and concerns, and please hit the subscribe button, like it, share it. You ain't even gotta watch it all the way through. Damn it, just click on it, help the boy out to get the reviews. Don't give a damn. Deuces.